I'm Jack, and right now I'd like to talk about hypocrisy. So this is just kind of a spur of the moment video as I see hypocrisy, and I wrote a chapter about this in my book, Observations of the Blind. And actually anything I talked about in these videos you find in the book, you find in a little bit more detail. But for hypocrisy, I started seeing how we're all hypocrites, just like my analogy with ego and empty space. There's no such thing as empty space. So I feel like it's the same with ego, and I feel like it would be the same with hypocrisy. It's really hard to avoid hypocrisy. We do it in so many different ways, and to me, the reason is because of ego, preference, consciousness. So we can only see what we can only see. And so when we only see something in life, or when we label it a certain way, it's so much harder to see it in any other area of life. So when our consciousness zooms in, then basically it'll be hard for us to see the same philosophies maybe over there. The same, and that's where hypocrisy comes in. It's just like someone may say, I'm a nice person, when it comes to the workplace. So anytime they're at a workplace, they're a nice person. One, the question is, what is nice? And that's all relative. It depends on the person that's experiencing their behavior. But they feel like they're nice, whatever that is. But then they may go into a different area. Let's say they're out at a bar. Are they still that nice person? So when they say, I am a nice person, their hypocrisy comes in when they aren't that same person, when they're in a different situation. And it's hard for us to see because we have to keep track of every time we said we're a nice person, and then we have to keep track of the situation we're in, and then we have to keep track of the behavior that we did and the intensity that we did it in. And there's so many variables to really keep track of and monitor. But that's where we just need to let go of it. We just need to let go of being a hypocrite, because we're all a hypocrite. We all do it in one way or another. I mean, there's this video online that I saw this morning, and it was this guy talking about spending money on vacation. And so what he said was, one, he was attacking the younger crowd, the youth that bought vacations on credit, and said, you need to save up, because if you can't afford that vacation, then you're going to pay for it 6 months down the road, and you didn't actually deserve it because you had to buy it on credit, and now you're paying it off, and you're in this prison, which I do agree with. But my question is, did that guy ever buy anything on credit? He was talking about summer vacations, very small scope. So did he ever buy a car on loan? Did he ever buy a mortgage? That's a 30-year loan. Did he ever buy a student loan? Did he ever ask a friend for a loan? Did he ever have to buy a drink at a bar and he didn't have money, so he asked a friend, or a stranger? There's so many different ways. The whole loaning thing is what he's missing. And so summer vacation is really small. Loan is really big. If you want to throw everything that is a loan in this universe, it's a very big scope. So when he gets worked up about summer vacations, students buying summer vacations off credit, he's missing out on probably all those other things, that like he was driving in a car. He's probably didn't buy that cash, yet he was calling out these students for not buying their vacations in cash. So they didn't really work for it. They didn't deserve it. Did he deserve his car? Did he deserve his house that he bought on a mortgage? So in order to get over this, see the concept that is within the summer vacations, which that concept would be a loan, lending, and blow it up, blow it up to a universal level, and then he'll start seeing these things and he'll be like, wow, I can't really say much. I can still have my frustration in summer vacations, but that's only one area of life. I do it in all these other areas of life. I do it 10 times more than just summer vacations. So at that point, most of us don't want to be a hypocrite, and then we'll probably start talking about summer vacations on loan in a different way. Because it's like I said, we all do it. And another example would be, let's say a partner cheating on another partner. They met up with someone else, and they said they wanted a good time. They needed a good time. And so their partner is going to say, well, that's just awful. How can you do that? That's just so disrespectful. And you just did it all for yourself. You just couldn't help yourself. You just had to do it, right? You're gonna die without it. You just needed to just have your fun. Yes, that's what happened. They needed it, and of course, it's really bad from one side. From the other side, that's what he felt like he had to do. But the hypocrisy comes in when she says, when she calls him out on, you just couldn't help yourself, right? You just had to have your fun. You just needed it. And the question is, does she not do that either? She just sees it in terms of human relationship that's with her. But let's look at food. Did she have to eat? Did she have to consume that other being because she just had to have it? She just couldn't live without it. She was just going to die, feel miserable, and she just had to have her fun, having an alcoholic drink. Let's say a really cheesy pizza, and she, nom, 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 oh, this is so good. That's exactly what the guy was doing. So, of course, many people probably watching this would just say, oh, food is different than cheating on your partner, which, yes, it is, but it also isn't. It's still the same feeling. It's still the same lust. It's still the same hypocrisy that we just don't see. And I'm not trying to say one is worse than the other. Of course, I have my preference. I could easily lust over food, and it might be a little bit more drastic over a human being because I'm also a human being. Eating a piece of pizza, they're not quite a human being. They're still a being, but there's just not that same sort of connection, that tie with them. So, and another example in food would be murdering. We say, I'm not a murderer. I say, I'm not a murderer. I haven't killed a single person. Well, guess what? I have. And I'm a cannibal, too. So, well, maybe not that, but I've eaten other beings. So I've eaten straight up vegetables, fruits. They probably weren't even entirely dead because I picked them right off the tree. So I am a hypocrite. I've eaten people before. The thing is it's that what I define as people is where my hypocrisy comes in. And if I only look at people as being human beings, then sure, everything's fine, but I'm a hypocrite. But as soon as I blow it up and I say beings, which are everywhere, everything is a being in some way or another, then the hypocrisy seems to go away. Because yes, I have killed people. I've eaten dead people. I've eaten dead chickens. I've eaten dead cows. I've eaten dead broccoli. I've eaten dead strawberries. Some of them I killed myself. I snapped their heads right off of the stem. So, yeah, I can be pretty ruthless, and I didn't even give two shits about it. I just snapped it off, and then that was it. Just chomped it down. So, That's what hypocrisy is. But like I said, we have such a funnel for for our perceptions and our consciousness that we just don't see the hypocrisy. So when someone calls us out as being a hypocrite, what do you know? We blow up and we say, "How dare you?" But after realizing that stuff, man, someone may say I'm a bad person, for example. I would be like, "Yeah, that's right. That is a part of me. I can also be a good person too, but it's all relative." But yeah, I'm not totally a good person. I'm not totally a bad person. I'm a little bit of both, and I don't have to feel like a hypocrite anymore. By saying I'm a good person, only a good person. Yet I feel like I'm doing these bad things, like eating other animals. Um, so it's really just what we see in life. So hypocrisy comes in shades of consciousness. And whatever our consciousness sees, that's usually all we can live within. So it gets a little shocking when someone comes out of that bubble and they're trying to pop our bubble, because they feel like we're a hypocrite. But I hope this helps you in some way in terms of that. We see someone online or we talk with someone in person at the store and they're saying something, yet we see the hypocrisy and then we just get frustrated in it. And eventually we can start seeing we're all hypocrites. It takes one to know one, and we all do it in one way or another. So we don't have to get so caught up. We don't have to get that same sort of charge when we see someone online. Like I got that charge this morning, but then I blew it up, within that time frame, and I was just like, well, he probably just doesn't even see it in the first place. So, woosah, that frustration of how dare he call out these people for wanting to buy vacation on credit because he does the same thing. And then I'm like, but he probably just doesn't see it. And is that really his fault? Yeah. And no. So all we can do is try and help people be a little bit more understanding and respectfully approach their hypocrisy. So hope you can take something away from this. Thank you for doing what you do as always, and I will see you next time.